Hare Krishna,
Ram
Krishna
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna
Krishna Hare
Krishna,
Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna
Ram Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Ram Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna Chaitanya,
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Shiva
Ram,
Shanti Gaura,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna. Hare
वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हरे कृष्णा। शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। नामाचार्य शिला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Premanandini Devidasi from Ashburn, Virginia. Thank you so much for joining the morning japa session, and please forgive me for stopping your ecstatic chanting. I'm going to read a quote by Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Since tomorrow is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day, um, I'm going to read something that Prabhupada had said for around this time. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself, who has appeared to teach us how to love Krishna. He is the most munificent incarnation of the Lord because he gives the highest gift, love of Krishna, freely to everyone. On the occasion of Gaur Purnima, Srila Prabhupada often emphasized, this day is very auspicious. We should take advantage of the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by increasing our chanting of the holy name and by distributing this Krishna consciousness movement for the benefit of all living entities. Our Bhagavatam speaker will be joining us shortly. May I know who all have joined the call today?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna to all the devotees. This is Surinder from Maryland. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Surinder Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your association, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna to all the devotees on this call. This is Geeta from Maryland. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Geeta Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Amritamani Devidasi. Dandavat Pranam to you and all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Amritamani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Hare Krishna to all devotees. This is Malini from Ashburn, Virginia. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Malini Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining the call, Mataji.
This is Vinod Maheshwari from Maryland.
Hare Krishna, Vinod Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for your association today.
Hare Krishna, Premanandini Mataji, and all the assembled devotees, and the Pranam, Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. This is Shamarasika Devdasi and Sundarasa from Pramantan, Maryland. So Mataji, I will call Prabhuji to join yet.
Hare Krishna, Shamrasika Mataji and Nikunjaras Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much for joining the call, Mataji. Anyone else would like to announce their name? I don't see the speaker on the call yet.
I'm calling Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji. If there's no fun announcing anymore, let's go on chanting until Prabhuji joins.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Nitya Harinam Sangha Bhagavatam class. Today we are extremely fortunate to have His Grace Ram Giridhari Prabhuji joining us from Mumbai, India. Prabhu is going to enlighten us on Canto 8, Chapter 16, verse 25. Prabhu, whenever you are ready, you may take over the call.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranams, all glories to Prabhupada. It's wonderful again to be in your assembly to discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. So 8, 16, 25. The chapter title, Executing the Payovrata Process of Worship. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Falguna Shamale Pakshe Dvadasaham Payovratam Archayedaravindaaksham Bhaktya Paramaya Vitaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. In the bright fortnight of the month of Falguna, February and March, for 12 days, ending with Dwadashi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. Purport. Worshipping the Supreme Lord Vishnu with devotion means following Archana Marga, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dhasyam Sakyam Atmanivedanam. One should install the deity of Lord Vishnu or Krishna and worship him nicely by dressing him, decorating him with flower garlands, and offering him all kinds of fruits, flowers, and cooked food, nicely prepared with ghee, sugar, and grains. One should also offer a flame, incense, and so on while ringing a bell as prescribed. This is called worship of the Lord. Here it is recommended that one observe the vow of subsisting only by drinking milk. This is called Payovrata. As we generally perform devotional service on Ekadashi by not eating grains, it is generally recommended that on Dwadasi one not consume anything but milk. Payovrata and Archana, devotional service to the Supreme Lord, should be performed with a pure devotional attitude, bhaktya. Without bhakti, one cannot worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Bhaktyamam api janati yavan yaschasmi tatvataha. If one wants to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead and be directly connected with Him, knowing what He wants to eat and how He is satisfied, one must take to the process of bhakti. As recommended here also, bhaktya paramayanvitaha. One should be surcharged with unalloyed devotional service. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namahom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Falguna Shyamale Pakshe Dvadashaham Payovratam Archayet Aravindaksham Bhaktya Paramayanvitaha. In the bright fortnight of the month of Falguna, February and March, for 12 days, ending with Dwadasi, one should observe the vow of subsisting only on milk and should worship the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. As we all know, this chapter of executing the Payovrata process of worship, which is explained by Kashyapa Muni to Aditi. So, Kashyapa Muni, based on Aditi's request, he is teaching this process of Payovrata. Many a times, because of our poor fund of knowledge, we tend to undermine the power of Vedic mantra. The so-called modern day youths, or I can say even adults for that matter, because they can't comprehend this, they mock at this process. How is it possible? Just by chanting some mantra, somebody is going to beget a child. How by just, having this fasting? Because all they could comprehend is some set of chemicals consumed will make somebody fertile or, energetic or whatever that may be. Ironically, even people from traditional Indian families are also losing faith in the tradition of Vedic system. The power of Vedic mantras, the power of the ritualistic practices as directed by accomplished Rishi Munis is no less than scientific process. Because we don't comprehend them, we think them as sentiments and emotions. But no, it is science. And several such practices once were mocked, were eventually adopted even by modern day people. Once people used to consider the subscription of cow urine and cow dung as something old school thinking. But now, so many scientific researchers have proved how medicinal and how therapeutic they are. So, in our spiritual learning process, when Shraddha comes first. Okay, when Saranagati comes first, along with Shraddha, then the process of learning is in the mode of super goodness. When a person wants to learn first and surrender later, then he is in the mode of passion. When a person does not even want to learn, but just operate out of his own whims and fancies, then he is in the mode of ignorance. I repeat, when we surrender first, along with Shraddha, not blind surrender, then the process of learning is mode of goodness or even super goodness. The way it happened with Arjuna, where Arjuna surrendered to Krishna with proper Shraddha and etiquette, then the process of learning was very scientific. This is mode of goodness. So when you wanted to learn spiritual knowledge, it is not learned in a challenging spirit. It is not learned from the perspective of, I prove a point. That is why Ekalavya, how much ever his prowess and capabilities were appreciated, the process by which he acquired knowledge was always considered non-bona fide. So in our spiritual journey, our first lesson is about the process of acquiring knowledge. This happens to be the primary differentiating factor between demigods and demons. In several places, appreciation of demigods, when they were given, it is because they accept the supremacy of the Lord, because they are ready to surrender to the Supreme Lord, because they are ready to
Okay.
because they are ready to appreciate to the plans of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are always under the protection of the Lord. Even though they make mistakes, even though they commit some mistakes, they are still appreciated for their surrender, for their righteousness. So in our spiritual journey, we need to remember the process of acquiring knowledge is never through a challenging spirit. It is never a blind following also, agreed. But it is never in a challenging spirit. The moment we challenge the authority of Vedic scriptures, we lose our acquired knowledge. Srila Prabhupada writes in third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, in the context of Vidura meeting Maitreya and Uddhava, in the assembly of the Supreme Lord. So he says a concept called Maryada Vyatikrama. What is that Maryada Vyatikrama? It means that I respect the knowledge, realizations, and experience of the experienced devotee, and first surrender and worship him or her, and then try to learn the spiritual knowledge from them. The very famous verse, Tatvidi Pranipadena, in that purport, Srila Prabhupada is giving 7 steps for acquiring knowledge. These 7 steps of acquiring knowledge is something that we need to very clearly understand. And if you don't understand, then we'll have a problem. So I will just list those 7 steps. Anyone who wish to acquire knowledge should go through these 7 steps. Number 1, one has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive the knowledge. Number 2, such a spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. And number 3, one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Number 4, satisfaction of the self-realized spiritual master is the secret of advancement in spiritual life. So, the stage 4 is to satisfy such a spiritual master. Number 5 is inquiry and submission to the lotus feet of the spiritual master. Means you inquire submissively, seeking spiritual knowledge. Number 6, pass the test of spiritual master. And number 7, one is blessed with genuine spiritual understanding. So just these 7 steps, if they are not followed, then spiritual learning becomes completely mechanical and no transformation of heart can happen. So my first reflection is about the power of the learning process. So when Kashyapa Muni is proposing about a methodology, a process, he is proposing with his experience, panditya, and also with his accomplished stature. One should learn to appreciate the experience and stature of Kashyapa Muni rather than trying to question about the process itself, which modern day men always have the spirit of challenging. Vedic life definitely encourages us not to accept anything blindly, but also encourages us to learn things in a more systematic, scientific, and devotional manner. So this is my first reflection. Second reflection is just in continuation of this, in terms of the pramana, as people always expect about the proof. And Srila Prabhupada says the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Phalena parichiyate. If you go and ask a modern day youth, please come and be part of Harinama Sankirtan, and you will experience the transcendental joy. The irony is, these guys use the same logic and tell us, yes, sir, we also welcome you to come and be part of our party and dancing. Whatever logic and philosophy we say, unfortunately, they are also saying, you come and dance with us, drink with us, party with us. You'll understand how wonderful it is. Unfortunately, because of not having basic understanding, many people fall flat to that. When we or when Acharya says, Phalena parichiyate, they are trying to encourage us that if you are not able to have faith in our words, or for you to have utmost faith in our words, please follow this. There is no loss to you. There is nothing that you are going to lose. There is nothing that you need to give up. There is nothing that you need to compromise. You just need to add certain things in your life and you will see the result. The very famous instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is Sthane Sthita Stutigatan Tanuvan Manopi. So, this instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very wonderful. Wherever you are, whatever practices that you are trying to do, please do it. Sthane Sthita Stutigatam Tanuvan Manobir. Ye prayasho jitato jitopi asitais trilokyam. Wherever you are, whatever activities that you are doing, while remaining situated in your own established social positions, you can appreciate spiritual life. So, pramana for our first reflection is nothing but we practice. The pramana of the 7 stages of acquiring knowledge is also scientifically established. There was a Japanese professor. He did a research. As a part of the research, he did something very wonderful. So he collected a bowl of water and split them into 2 parts in 2 bowls. One bowl of water, he started looking at that and giving lots of positive words and thoughts and statements. And To the second bowl of water, he gave all abuses. And in the process, he froze both the bowl and did a spectrum analysis of the water. The spectrum analysis very clearly says that the one which received positive sound vibration have got a very wonderful pattern, and the one that has received abuses was chaotic. So he has established through what our so-called modern day men believe, scientifically, clinically, laboratorically established a process that positive sound vibrations have a positive impact. When you tell these people, you do Achaman, Om Keshavaya Namaha, Om Narayana Namaha, Om Madhavaya Namaha, they think we are jokers. When you tell all these people, chant Apavitra Pavitrova, Sarva Vastan Gatopiva, Yasmaret Pundarikaksham, Saha Bahya Abhyantarada Suchihi, they think we are just some old school people. No, by chanting these mantras with the proper training, with proper mood, all that is happening is transformation. That transformation only when laboratory people are saying we believe, but when acharyas are saying, when rishi munis are saying, we think that they are old school people. It is the irony that the transcendental subject matter has to be established transcendental by a mechanical process for us to believe. But good that somebody is working on it to even present it. So my point is, there are several pramana. One of the pramana is personal practices. Another pramana is by all these so-called experiences of experienced devotees. And the most superlative pramana is that in spite of me, in spite of us, we have changed. Our own transformation is the proof. When Yamaraj asked Yudhishthira Maharaj during Yaksha Prashna 10 different questions. One of the question was, tell me the most surprising things in this world. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, everyone is dying, but everyone is thinking that I will not die. And that's very surprising. So my second reflection is to state that the process of acquiring knowledge, the process of Vedic procedures, sometimes being mocked at, is to be avoided, and it is high time that we convinced devotees find ways and means to help our brothers and sisters and the children of our movement to subscribe to Vedic way of life and teach them that this works. Don't waste the most precious part of your life. Krishna consciousness works. All that is recommended are not fake. They are all real. As Krishna is telling Arjuna, Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. This is experienceable knowledge. So, This Payovrata process that Kashyapa Muni is teaching to Aditi, the procedures may look very non-scientific for those who have no belief, but somebody who has strong understanding about Vedic process, they succeed. A third and most important part of it, this entire process, where is the secret of the process? The secret of the process is about the worship of Supreme Lord with unalloyed devotion. The biggest challenge for the modern day men is that they are confused between the real devotees and devotees who are look-alike. The look-alike devotee means that person who looks like a devotee, who is in the garb of a Vaishnava, and for the sake of material results, they try to use spirituality as a job opportunity. Prabhupada used to always say, sometimes not knowing the real essence, the smarta brahmanas give importance to something which is superficial and forget about the essence. So the third reflection I want to say is, as much as we are trying to scientifically learn spirituality, scientifically learn spiritual practices, we should very seriously understand the essence of all of them. The essence of all of them is we have to become devotee of Krishna. Whether it is for the sake of begetting children, whether it is learning warfare, whether it is cooking, whether it is doing administration, whether it is getting a job, getting married, or purificatory ceremony, you name anything in Vedic life. All the actions were all purified by invoking the Lord's name. But sometimes we are so mechanical. We do all the activities but forget to take the Lord's name. I'll give you a few examples. And I have done that such a rascaldom myself. I very well remember in my grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, 1986, 87, 88, that period. When I had not yet taken up Krishna consciousness, I took up Krishna consciousness in September 1989. So this is just before that. In India, we have this tradition of people observing Vaikuntha Ekadashi and Shivratri. So, I had a neighbor, auntie. She doesn't have a son. She has only one daughter. And she considers me as her son. So, whenever she needed some, some things in our small town, those days there were no online, mainline. So we have to, everything is nearby shops, and so she used to call me for any support functions of the house. And whatever happens or not, yearly 2 times I have a fixed routine. On Vaikuntha Ekadashi time, Vaikuntha Ekadashi is one of the Ekadashis of the year that is very traditional in Sri Vaishnava temples. That generally comes in the month of December, January. I used to, rent television, VCR. VCR is that typical old analog cassettes. And whole night watch 3 movies. So on Shivratri day night and Vaikuntha Ekadashi night, because it is explained that if somebody is awake whole night, they get punya. What is the and I without realizing what I was getting into, I used to facilitate because my classmate used to run such a business. So I used to be the facilitator, arranging TV, getting the VCR, making sure 3 movies are picked, and we have a 1 week of discussion which movie to be renting it, and that is how our Vaikuntha Ekadashi and Shivratri happens. This is called stupidity par excellence. Just because I'm supposed to be awake in the night. What is the purpose of awaking in the night? What is the purpose of fasting Ekadashi? If we miss the point, huh? So what is the value? One time, Srila Prabhupada was in a temple somewhere, I forgot. So this was very early days when devotees were very seriously practicing their uh, spiritual things, especially new when things were all getting activated in ISKCON. So Srila Prabhupada saw on the day of Ekadashi, because Ekadashi was, people were really fasting and, Nirjala and whatever that kind of fasting that they had. So on the day of Ekadashi, Srila Prabhupada saw all the devotees, they were all sitting in one corner, almost twined themselves because of hunger, because of fasting, because they were not used to that, and they were not able to do any of their services. Srila Prabhupada saw, what is this? The purpose of our fasting is to increase our consciousness, increase our time, increase our association with the Supreme Lord, not that we just abstain from eating and think about food all the day. He said that please have non-grain food as much as you can, go out and distribute books, perform Nagar Sankirtan, and that's our fasting. So my third reflection is to say that it is imperative that in our journey, in our Krishna consciousness, we don't miss to understand the essence of all the practices. The essence of all the practices is about what it is explained in this verse. Should worship the lotus side Supreme Personality of Godhead with all devotion. Bhaktya paramayan vitaha. Paramaya means unalloyed. Anvitaha means surcharged. Surcharged. So it is important. That is why bhakti process and the materialistic process, they have 2 different perspectives. Bhakti process highlights more towards qualitative, subtleties, intent, attitude, mood, consciousness. And the externals are given later importance. In the materialistic scenario, it is the opposite. What you think is not what is meant. You should know, you should externally see how you are, how you speak, and all the external things are taken into consideration. In the spiritual dimension, we focus on the food's nature. What type of food that we eat? Is it offered or not? Is it conducive to Krishna consciousness or not? But in the materialistic scenario, we are focusing on how we eat. If you sit on a dinner party or dinner table, nobody is worried about what you eat. Everybody is worried about how you eat. Do you have the mannerisms or not? Nobody is worried about what we dress. Everybody is worried about how are we flaunting our materialistic acquisitions. So it's a very important aspect that in all our spiritual practices, you will see this reference to bhaktya, bhaktya, bhaktya. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayaschati tadaham bhakti upahritam asnami priyatatmanaha. Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful purport to this shloka. He says, in this shloka, Krishna is using the word bhakti twice. That is to insist the focal point. It is not patram pushpam phalam toyam the focal point. Not that it is not important, but without bhakti, it is only something stupid. I'll tell a small story. There used to be a cobbler. This cobbler was a simple poor guy. One day a Brahmana came to fix his, fix his shoes to this cobbler. And cobbler, he was doing his work, singing some song almost in complete focus. He was singing a song. And he was constantly, doing his job in a very happy, focused mood. So when this Brahmana gave his shoes for fixing, the Brahmana noticed something very shocking. The cobbler had a very well shaped Shaligram Shila of Jagannath, which the cobbler was using it as a hammer to chisel his, work. So the Brahmana was shell shocked that he is using a Shaligram to beat it, to beat the chisel. So the Brahmana says, "Hey, my dear cobbler, do you know what are you holding on to?" He said, "Sahab, I do not know what is this all. I purchased for 20 rupees. It was very conducive for my work, so I'm using them." So the Brahmana said, "I will give you 100 rupees. Can you give this to me?" He said, "Okay, very happily I'll give. I will go and find out one more." So the Brahmana took the Jagannath Shaligram, took him home, bathed him, every day chanted Vedic mantras, offered so many upacharas, whatever that Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport, in terms of the ingredients, he tried to offer everything. One day, Jagannath came in the dream. And Jagannath shouted at the Brahmana, saying that, "What have you done? I was very happy with the cobbler. Every day he used to please me with his wonderful bhajans, singing. You have brought me and suffocating me. Unless you go and leave me back to that cobbler, I will finish you off." And Brahmana woke up with sheer surprise and said, "What? What?" So he took the shaligram, ran towards the cobbler and asked the cobbler, "Hey, my dear friend, what is that you are singing all the time?" The cobbler then presented that he was singing the Dasavadara Stotra of Jayadeva Goswami, which is the Mangalarati songs in Jagannath Puri. So he said that I liked this song. I picked it up and I like to keep singing them quite regularly. Pralaya payodi jale dhritavana vedam vihita vahitra charitra magedam keshavadrita kurma sharira. Whatever. So the idea is that he said, I sing this. And as we all know, Jagannath likes this song very well. He likes this, Dashavdara Stotra. The message here is that cobbler, with utmost simplicity, with no duplicity, he was trying to perform his routine, and the Lord gets attracted to that. Then the so-called procedures, things like that. We are not against procedures, but we are very much insisting on bhaktya, 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 bhaktya. Bhaktya paramaya anvitaha. Devotion paramaya means unalloyed, anvitaha means surcharged with unalloyed devotion. That is the essence of payovrata. So when a person is fasting on a particular month, refraining from particular ingredient, are they not important? They are important. And I'll tell you how that importance is. It's like I go to a school to study, and being regularly disciplined in the school is a primary requirement of the school. Wearing uniform to the school is a requirement of a school. I do all my given activities as directed by the teacher is a requirement of the school. Cleanliness, discipline, organized, they are all requirement of the school. But out of all these things, how do I learn from my teacher is the essence. I wear uniform to the school. I go to the school on time, but I sleep in the classroom. I am not attentive to the classroom. Does not fulfill the purpose of going to the school. So all our procedures are important. Taking bath, wearing tilak, having a particular, attire for deity worship, performing the procedures, these all increase our maryada towards the process. But the maryada has to culminate in actually giving maryada to the person, by valuing the person, by loving the person, by remembering the person, by worshipping the person. That is the success of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sankirtan mission. That is the difference between Smarta and Vaishnavas. Smarta mentality means simply talking about rules. Talking about rules without associated purpose is simply useless. So the point I was trying to drive home is, sometimes we get to see people in the garb of a saint simply harping on the rule, forgetting about the essence of spirituality, may irritate the modern day men who starts to disbelieve in spirituality. So it is our duty as practitioners of Krishna consciousness that we uphold the spirit of Krishna consciousness by remembering Krishna, loving Krishna, and for loving Krishna, we follow the procedures given by him. Not that we love the procedure and Krishna is just like a pickle in the food. No, Krishna is the main course. Rest everything else is around him. So, my third reflection is to say that in our journey to Krishna consciousness, in any procedural performances, any dharmic activities, should culminate in glorifying Krishna, remembering Krishna, loving Krishna, focusing on Krishna, and Krishna is our ultimate focus. Srila Prabhupada, in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 14, I have several times given this reference, but I'll give for one more time. In Nectar of Devotion, chapter 14, first paragraph, Srila Prabhupada is writing a very profound statement. The chapter titled Devotional Qualifications. Srila Prabhupada writes, some scholars recommend that knowledge and renunciation are important factors for elevating oneself to devotional service. But actually, that is not a fact. Actually, the cultivation of knowledge or renunciation, which are favorable for achieving a footing in Krishna consciousness, may be accepted in the beginning, but ultimately they may also come to be rejected, for devotional service is dependent on nothing other than the sentiment or desire for such service. It requires nothing more than sincerity. A similar recommendation Srila Prabhupada is making in uh, Nectar of Instruction. A similar instruction. I'll just read that and end the session. Srila Prabhupada is saying in Nectar of Instruction, verse number 5, Srila Prabhupada writes, uh, Srila Prabhupada writes that according to Prabhupada writes, the Krishna consciousness movement, text 5 of Nectar of Instruction, somewhere in the purport. The Krishna consciousness movement prescribes 16 rounds daily because people in the Western countries cannot concentrate for long periods while chanting on beads. Therefore, the minimum number of rounds is prescribed. However, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura used to say that unless one chants at least 64 rounds of japa, 100,000 names, he is considered fallen. According to his calculation, practically every one of us is fallen. But because we are trying to serve the Supreme Lord with all seriousness and without duplicity, we can expect the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is famous as Patita Pavana, the deliverer of the fallen. So my 2 cents here is that in our journey in Krishna consciousness, so the point of bhaktya, uh, bhaktya is very, very key here. If there is no bhaktya, then it's bhaktya paramaya anvitaha. Bhaktya means with devotion, paramaya means unalloyed, anvitaha means surcharged. Surcharged with unalloyed devotion is the essence of all that we are doing. So to summarize our conversation, we had 3 sets of reflection. The first set of reflection is about the process of acquiring knowledge. Sometimes we think that knowledge should be comprehensible, but not necessary. Sometimes I don't understand. I have to go through some learning process. And the learning process, anyone who surrenders first with sincerity will have an easy learning, and his learning will be considered as the learning in the mode of goodness. Anyone who has the spirit of challenging spirit and want to acquire knowledge for proving a point, like Digvijay Pandit, Keshava Kashmiri, so many such examples, then such acquiring of knowledge is an acquiring of knowledge in the mode of passion. And there are some people who does not have a learning, they just wanted to use their whims and fancies. They are the ones who are in the mode of ignorance. So Srila Prabhupada is giving the process of acquiring knowledge. We saw from 4.34 Bhagavad Gita 7 steps of acquiring that knowledge. because that is very, very important for us to demonstrate. And the 7 steps are: one has to approach a bona fide spiritual master to receive knowledge. Number two, the spiritual master should be accepted in full surrender. Number three, one should serve the spiritual master like a menial servant without false prestige. Number four, satisfaction of the self realized spiritual master. Number five, inquiries and submission for spiritual understanding. Number six, ready to pass the test of the spiritual master. Number seven, the spiritual master blesses the disciple with genuine spiritual understanding. And the second reflection that we had was about uh, how in the process of our learning, uh, we are always looking forward for some pramana, for some basis, and the pramana is our own personal practices. You practice, you get to experience the result. So you don't go through the modern day way of learning. You are just experiential learning, and this process is very much practically executable. And otherwise also there are modern day people who are trying to prove this, and in some cases they have proven this also, but every time we have to go through that, it becomes really a second class and third class way of learning. And the last and third reflection is about the importance of bhaktiya paramayanvitaha, how the essence of all the practices is unalloyed devotion, surcharged with unalloyed devotion. So, this is not the only place. Every place, whenever any procedural worship or practices that are recommended, the word bhaktya has been very well used. So, let us all try to take advantage of this bhakti movement, be devotional, and help others become devotional. Hare Krishna. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे. हरि हरि बोल. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this wonderful class. I'm sorry, I'm going first. I have a question. Actually, I have two questions. Um, so, Prabhuji, firstly, thank you for such a wonderful class. Your reflections and insights were very, very, it touched my heart. I've been myself thinking on some of these reflections lately. Um, I think one of the questions that I had was, Prabhu, it is said that bhakti is simple for the simple-hearted. Um, and I feel that in the world that we live, I'm going to use a little Hindi because it gives a more impact to that. So हम लोग को ऐसे लगता है कि जो कुछ easily मिलता है, it's not worth it. उसमें मजा नहीं आता. We sometimes like to complicate things because we want to feel accomplished. Right? So,
Yes.
Prabhu, how do we understand that bhakti should? So basically, my question is, how do we keep our heart simple so that we try to get the bhakti? And maybe I should ask my second question also because maybe it is kind of correlated. So, Prabhu, as a person, I feel sometimes when I have this very sweet and very core association of devotees that I associate with. And some of them are my very dear friends. And, everyone has different qualities and moods in devotional life, right? Now, some of my friends are very shastrically inclined, and I am not at all. So sometimes I get very like, I beat myself. Um, and I feel that, oh, mujhe nahi aata, I need to read more. So I guess, and I've started, and I love reading in general. So I've started to develop a practice of reading Prabhupada's books also, because I understand that is important. Whether I know shlokas or I have a realizations like them is going to be probably secondary. But what should be my mindset? Because I don't think I am competitive, or maybe I'm just saying this so that I ease my mind. But I feel I get dejected when I see that. I feel very little, I feel, अरे यार मैं कुछ ही नहीं कर रही हूँ. I need to do something about it. So is that healthy firstly? And if it is not healthy, how do I correct that?
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. You are, intriguing me to dive deeper. I'll tell you both the questions. I'll answer them in the sequence. For the first question, I'll tell a simple episode that happened. There was a dean of a university. So this is a professor from, if I'm right, from Osmania University or some other university. He happened to visit um, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a very, what do you say, at that time was a scholarly, very well known as a Singha Guru. He was like a very highly knowledgeable person. So he thought, I'll just go and have a samvad. I'll just go and have a dialogue with him and have a philosophical discussions. So he went there. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj didn't knew who that person was when he went in. So he said, Swamiji, I got to hear about you. I would like to have a dialogue with you. So on a very casual note, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj said, okay, discussions all we will do later. My pujari needs a helping hand. Just go and wash some pots and come. So this guy got really taken aback, saying that, I am a, dean of a university and never done any of those things. But then he was in a dharma sankat, like he cannot just walk out. He has come in, and so he just went in. He just went in. After 1 hour, he came out and he offered a sashtang dandavat pranams to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj and said, Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The service that you let me do clarified more than 50-60% of what I wanted to learn and understand from you. So the idea was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj demonstrated that sometimes the baggage of so many layers of our positioning is something that is important, but just removing them. I'll tell you one more episode. This happened in Durban. So ISKCON of Durban had a neighbor. And the neighbor and ISKCON of Durban had regularly some tiff, some arguments, some fights, some things that, they were, sharing the same compound. So they used to have regular, misunderstanding because of sound, kirtan, whatever that may be. So then finally, Prabhupada was planning to come. So there was a huge, planning for Srila Prabhupada's coming for the first time. So the temple authorities were a bit concerned because the neighbor landlord lady, every day she used to come to ISKCON and fight with ISKCON devotees. So they thought they will go and tell to Srila, to that lady that for next 3 days, please don't bother us. After that, whatever you want, we'll do. But then they thought if they tell that, the lady will get more intrigued. So then they thought, okay, let me not say them. So they thought, let me say Prabhupada. Prabhupada, we have a bothering neighbor. So please forgive us if she comes and barge in and try to shout it. Then they thought this is the first time Srila Prabhupada is coming. How can we give such a such a news? So in a dilemma, they just did not tell anything. First day Prabhupada came after Mangalarti. Srila Prabhupada went for the morning walk. Nobody briefed Prabhupada. Nobody briefed that lady. When Srila Prabhupada was stepping out for the morning walk, he saw that landlord lady was watering her garden. He just addressed, Hey lady, your garden looks very nice. You seem to be very creative. You seem to have a very wonderful sense of creativity. And just Prabhupada left for the morning walk. The second day, same thing happened. A similar, greetings and exchanges happened. Third day, similar exchanges and greetings happened. And Srila Prabhupada left. Fourth day, that lady came to the temple saying that you had an old man in your temple. Where is that guy? Who is that guy? So this temple devotees, they were worried that probably this lady is going to, show her rupa again. Said, why? What has happened? He is our founder Acharya of our movement. He has only left for other location. That lady said he is the only good guy in your entire movement. So the message that I want to say is sometimes we do, what you're saying is absolutely correct. The most simple process, the way Prabhupada preached that lady in that simple gesture, we all as devotees, practicing devotees, couldn't do that. So the whole sum and substance of the process is Chaitanya. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes, what statement you said? Krishna consciousness is complicated. He's using the right word. Is for crooked. The word that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes is Krishna consciousness is difficult for crooked and simple for simple-minded. So to answer you, so yes, that statement is true. To answer you, how do we get them? Only by associating with simple people. The only way, because we are surrounded by complicated people, all complicated thinking. So there are simple souls out there. Just grab that opportunity to associate with them, serve them. You will understand how complicated we are. One time, one girl went to Srila Prabhupada and said, Srila Prabhupada, the chanting that you have recommended is so wonderful. When I chant, a red light come in front of my eyes. Srila Prabhupada shrugged his shoulder and said, keep chanting, that will also go away. So sometimes we think some other intermittent thing as an achievement, whilst that is not an achievement, that's intermittent thing. So we have to go past, remove, shed all our baggages, So it is difficult because we are crooked at this point in time. Sorry, at least I'm crooked. I cannot say for others.
I understand.
The point is, by associating with simple-minded people, it's actually our education system has made us like that. In the education system, traditionally, it was built on surrender, submissiveness, humility, patience, service. So that is how the education system was. Now it is about proving the point and disruption, all sorts of things. So we are already acquiring nonsense and coming to Krishna consciousness to once again remove that nonsense, then further remove all the other past nonsenses. It's a huge task. So the only way is associating with simple-minded people and perform menial services. If you perform, somebody said this, Gurudwara, if you know, one of their angas of procedures of worship is whomever you may be CEO or multi-billionaire, they have to be in the shoe stand. Will you and me on Janmashtami day, given the service of shoe stand, will we accept that service? Will we welcome our friends and we be in the shoe stand? I'm not sure. Krishna was in shoe stand. Will I be, oh, Prabhu, that's let us hire some laborers and let us do our, Abhishek service. So washing the pots, washing the toilets, mopping the floor, cleaning the floor, looking after the shoe stands. So by performing menial services, we can crush our ego down and actually enjoy the real taste of Krishna consciousness. So that's the answer to your first question. To answer the second part of the question is with respect to our spiritual lives, being intimidated by others' processes is not required. We need to remember we are all given different question papers. We all know the answers, but thinking that his question paper and my question paper are same. No, it's not same. We are all individually supposed to answer our question papers. So let us answer our question papers. The point is, that is why we were, the third reflection of the point is, drive home the agenda of loving Krishna. Love Krishna, love Krishna, love Krishna. That's the essence. That is why, if we understand the symptoms of practicing Krishna consciousness, focus on, am I acquiring these symptoms? Am I getting detachment from sense gratification? Am I getting free from enviousness? Am I getting attachment towards my chanting? If it is not happening, how much ever sastrically you are great, how much ever scholarly you are inclined, there is no use. So that's the sum and substance. I hope I had clarified your points.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhu. It was very beautiful.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much for this beautiful class. So many wonderful points. Really loved it. Prabhuji, I also had a question regarding simplicity. One gets caught up. I'm talking for myself about reading the shlokas because I'm not versed at all in Sanskrit. So, how about if I say the same thing in my language, Hindi, simply to the Lord? You know, basically, it's the message that I want to convey, and because of that, I so many times get dejected and I don't do what I should be doing. So that's my question, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Very nice question. I'll tell you a very interesting activity once I did for our students. I used to teach children in our community, and one day we were having a discussion on prayers. So what happened was, they are all third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade children. So one day, I was thinking, how do I teach prayer? So I divided the board in two parts, and one side of the board I said, let us all brainstorm and list all that we receive from the Lord without we ask for it, but without which we can't survive. On the right hand side, let us write all those things we give the Lord without we are being told, but it's important to give. So on the left hand side, our list was growing: sunlight, moon, water, air, earth, parents, friends. So the list was growing, 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 growing. Big, huge list has come. So all these things are very important to us. We don't ask for it, but they are provided to us. How many of us have to make an endeavor that tomorrow Sun department wake up on time? We don't need to do that. So that list was growing. And on the right hand side, we could hardly make anything there. So naturally, we had a question to everyone. If we are receiving so many things from somebody and not giving anything back, what is the basic gesture of a gentleman? All the children said that at least we should say thank you. So I made all the children write a thank you letter. Dear God, thank you. They wrote a thank you letter. And I said, please go every day, you read this in front of Krishna. So my point is to answer you, it is absolutely okay for you to compose your own thoughts, your own words, your own, uh, um, composition and present it to Krishna. No problem. It is accepted. But only one caveat. We should also know how to pray. We should also know the content of our prayer, because for us, somehow, unfortunately, coincidentally, we have always been taught that prayer means asking something from God. But prayer means not asking from God. Prayer means loving God. Prayer means giving something to God. Asking is 1% of the entire process. If required, you can ask. Say thank you to God. Say sorry to God. Say love you to God. Because we are not accustomed to it. Because we do not have the necessary understanding of what kind of maryada that I need to have when I pray, I borrow other prayers. So the songs that we sing, the prayers of other acharyas, they are used because I do not know how to pray. For example, Gita Mataji, you please pray to Krishna. How long you can pray? 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. After that, our whole syllabus is over. But if you learn Acharya's prayers, for 4 hours we can pray. Vishnu Sahasranama is half an hour. Govinda Damodara Stotra, 45 minutes. Brahma Samhita, another half an hour. There are so many prayers. Srila Prabhupada writes in 8th canto, 3rd chapter, text 1. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Gajendra Moksha purport. He said Gajendra, as an elephant, could remember the prayer from his previous life that helped him to get rid of the emergency that he was in. So we encourage all the practitioners of this Krishna consciousness movement to regularly recite Narshinga prayer, Brahma Samhita prayer, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, so that even if he happens to become an animal in his next life, these prayers help. So, hence, learning the prayers of acharyas are a training process for us to develop the loving mood, the loving gesture, the loving approach. How do I approach God? And what all ways I can appreciate God? By just remembering, meditating these prayers, I am borrowing those words so that I can emulate within myself the right mood to offer prayers to Krishna. Am I making sense, Mataji?
Yes, very much, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to
Hare
Srila
Krishna.
Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Thank you Prabhuji for breaking down the points so well for us to understand. You always bring such analytical study onto the scriptures to make it really palatable and swallowable by neophytes like me. Prabhuji, my question, you were mentioning about your childhood and how you were observing Vaikuntha Ekadashi by watching movies, but keeping awake. But my question is, there are different stages, and I was just thinking about my childhood. I'm from Kerala, and then there is this Ayyappa puja they do every year, like 41 days. So even though I was like my family is non-vegetarian, that time they are vegetarian. So observing that kind of, prepared me to, take the vows and etc. I feel that every austerity, even though it's not the right thing, it's going to help in the long run. So, for a person who smokes 2 packets of cigarette, telling them to smoke 1 pack helps them slowly. So, should we be thinking of like our initial stages critically, or see all those as stepping stones to where we
I fully agree with you in terms of the gradual evolution of consciousness, and it is supposed to be like that. And any type of austerity, even if it's in the mode of passion or ignorance, some austerity is definitely appreciated. Krishna says about it in Bhagavad Gita. The only challenge is, because if I had not got association with devotees, I would have lived like that for the rest of my life. I would have lived like that. I'm not sure where that auntie is now. How her practices of Shivaratri and Vaikuntha Ekadashi nowadays are, but without Bhaktivedanta purports, without associating with Vaishnavas, my consciousness would have not evolved further. I would have always remained as a frog in the well. Or that's what I'm trying to say. The education system, just because I did some austerity, because today people want to get credit even for the smallest good things I've done, and want us to forgive for the greatest offenses to be done. If I done greatest offenses, they should be forgiven, and smallest good thing rewarded. Can I converse them? No. Can I reverse them? No. But it's okay. That is how it is. A smallest good thing Krishna rewards. Only when the understanding is I have to improve from here. I have to go forward from here. I have to become. That is not my benchmark. My benchmark is that. If I have that understanding, that's okay. Krishna explains in 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, gradual gradation of evolution of consciousness, and he is allowing different stages of consciousness. The only point I was trying to drive home was that if we had not got Vaishnavas association, we would assume rules as everything, but not beyond. You read the section of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu meeting Prakashananda Saraswati. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gives a beautiful explanation. He says that all that scholarly studies that you are doing are all okay. But if you don't understand the purpose and essence of this human form of life, what is the value of them? 7 days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu patiently heard all those discussions, and seventh day he gave his pravachan and transformed every one of them. So our endeavor should be in our journey. Austerities, any little capacity. That is why Prabhupada says, coming from a sattvic, cultured background is anyway a good platform. But use that platform to achieve the highest, the devotional stature. Then it's okay, no problem. Make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. And there are people who can not follow regulative principles, but they are worshipping with a lot of bhav. So how can we see like where the line is?
The idea is that somewhere we have imagined that Krishna consciousness as a quantitative phenomena. Krishna consciousness is a qualitative phenomena, meaning the more you are trying to make necessary progress in Krishna consciousness, the more you will succeed. And as I was mentioning in the previous question, that it is important that we understand each of our question paper is different, and let me make my progress. Even if I'm not finishing in this lifetime, in the next lifetime I'll finish. I have begun, I will make progress. So I'm not sure if I have really clearly answered this, but all I want to say is that there is nothing called as he has did and I have to do the same way. We all may have different trajectory, and somebody may have agyata sukriti, somebody may have some I mean, I know several families that they have never touched Bhagavad Gita in their house, but their great grandson would have used Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita and transformed. Some people have been born in a Brahmin family and became full-time devotees in USA. Their father and mother would have requested them to perform Sandhya Vandanam, but he would have gone in USA and become a full-time devotee. So the contact with the self-realized soul is very important, and the duty of a self-realized soul is to identify such souls and give them Krishna consciousness. As they say, every stone, every coal doesn't become a diamond, but some coal, the diamond's previous version, the original version is coal, koila. So you need to identify them, make sure that it goes through different stages of polishing. So our lives, at least, there is a song by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. এমনা দুর্মতি সংসার ভিতরে পদিয়াচিনু আমি তব নিজ জানা কোন মহাজানে পাতাইয়া দিলে তুমি দয়া করি মোরে পতিত দেখিয়া কহিল আমারে গিয়া. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Doya kori more patita dekiya. One good soul, he saw us how fallen we are and extended himself. And that's the mood that we are all supposed to carry. You somehow got, opportunity to perform little austerities that gave you some sukriti, which helped you in getting contact with devotees. You build it up from there. Now you are a practicing devotee. Please identify such souls out there who may have built some sukriti. Pick it up from there. It is easy for them. So let us do the job of a postman by going and delivering Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message to everyone. Does that make sense?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, then Pranam all Guru Shishla Prabhupada. Very nice, very strong class. I will hear it again. And yes, thank you again for enlightening us and encouraging us towards the path of bhakti and following what Srila Prabhupada has said. And more important thing is like associating more and more with the devotees. One point I really liked about the vrata that you said, like we should be more focused on doing the devotional service rather than thinking about the food and not eating. And if you cannot tolerate the food, the hunger actually. So I know austerity is also needed, but most importantly is the chanting. If there is any obstacle doing that, then basically yes, we should overcome that first. Thank you again, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I just wanted to ask you, you said self-realized souls, right? So
Yes.
we don't know, and people generally don't, talk about it. How would we know they're bona fide self-realized souls?
If you want to buy a gold, you do not know how gold look like. You do not know which is original gold. You do not know where to buy gold from. So what do? You start doing some research. You try to find out what gold is, what is the importance of gold, what is the market value of gold, what are the bona fide. You do some research. You do some homework, and then in the process of you doing homework, because you are serious about it. I used to always tell this: self seriousness drives you to the right destination. Your desire, self seriousness, it is Krishna's job. Prabhupada writes, 4th canto, 9th chapter. I don't remember the exact verse, 3 or 4th verse. Prabhupada writes, when Dhruva Maharaj was visiting the forest, Narada Muni was elsewhere, somewhere in some other part of the world. But because Dhruva Maharaj was serious in trying to approach Krishna, Narada Muni was delivered that message, and Narada Muni arrived at the place where Dhruva Maharaj was there. How did Narada Muni otherwise will come to know? There was no arrangement in those days. So he came, Krishna did that job. So self-realized souls and the necessary support system you will get. It is Krishna's project, not your project, when you have developed the desire. The second aspect of it is that as you learn about gold, you also know about attributes and qualities. So as you study about devotion and self-realization, you also know characteristics. So when you find those characteristics available, you'll be able to naturally, identify. And third and most important, that I am in grade 2. I don't need the company of PhD scholar. Even somebody is in grade 6, is good enough for me now, because from grade 2 I'll go to grade 6, from grade 6 I can go to grade 10, from grade 10 I'll go to, so even though I may not go by grade, even if I want to do if I'm a gifted and talented guy, so I don't need Narada Muni tomorrow. What if I get nothing like it? If Narada Muni comes to my house and keeps his hand on my head and I'm transformed, wonderful. But do I deserve that? Do I have the necessary qualification for inviting Narada Muni? No. But followers of Narada Muni in different gradations are accessible around me. So I am in grade 2 or grade 1. Why should I need a Prabhupads and Narada Munis of the world coming to me, even though they are available in different form and shape around us? So my 2 cents is our strong desire to practice Krishna consciousness, proportionate to that strong desire, you will get association. This is Krishna's project. It is impossible that Krishna will miss his duty. You just focus on your desire, you get the necessary soul who will take you forward to Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very encouraging. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madharat Pranam, all worship Guru Maharaj. Very nice question answers in class. Thank you so much for your association. And I really like the story about the Jagannath. How there was another story of one Mataji, right, who used to cook early in the morning without taking a bath. And then somebody, Hindi mein bolte, tok diya unko, right? And then Jagannath got very angry that, she was giving me on time. Then she was taking so much time taking a bath and this and that. So it's so nice how Jagannath is always coming in the prayers of his devotees. And, it makes us more believe, yes, Krishna is a person, and, he's there he wants to enter into the thought process into our lives and wants to accept our love. So thank you for that story. It's, like sometimes we forget about Jagannath's stories, and when you mention it, then for some time at least I remember it. So yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the class.
Hare Krishna.
I don't have a class, but just the way you explained in points is very beneficial. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Okay, if there are no further questions, we can end the session.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for this excellent class. And Prabhuji, question answer session was so beautiful. If you have time, can I ask one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, Prabhuji, yesterday we were at New Vrindavan with our family friends. They are also devotees. So, my daughter and their kids, they are grown up now. So, they did college here and working now. So, their daughter was telling that in spiritual world, spiritual and material, we have to balance, and it is very difficult for us here uh, because in spirituality we learn that we have to be humble and we have to give preference to others and always trying to be in serving mood. But when we see other co-workers, they don't do like this. And if we do this, so we are like they see like us ये क्या पागलपन करे ऐसे मतलब ऐसे हिसाब से हमारे को देखते हैं तो how should so that was their point and they were asking us
So the idea is that we think the modern world explanation of humility is coward.
and the people
That,
who are Prabhuji, one more point. So the people who don't respect others or they just use fuck words or f words and do like all kinds of mm, non
abuses.
yeah. So they are like people talk to them and they make like enjoyment and they make a group and then like that. There's like something discrimination or like that, Prabhuji. So that's they are facing, yeah.
I used to always tell this to my students that in this world, two sets of people are celebrities. One, celebrities meaning they are odd man out. The celebrities are odd man out, and notorious people are odd man out. Those who are celebrities, successful, accomplished people, they are odd man out. When I say odd man out, they do different from what others are doing. And those who are rascals, notorious, fallen, completely, demoniac, they are also odd man out. The in between is masses. So many a time our problem is we don't like to be an odd man out. But if you remember once, all successful celebrities, if you calculate around the entire world of 10 billion people, how many celebrities are there? 1,000? 10,000? The celebrity count is not even 0.1%. So when we are not like others, let us not get intimidated. At least we should tell our children this point. You not necessarily need to, just because somebody is using the F word, S word, B word, whatever the word is. Just because we don't speak it, we don't need necessary to be feel intimidated. In fact, rather a person is known by his conduct. The way Prabhupada conducted to that lady in Durban, the way our Harivilas Prabhu once shared a very interesting story, similar to that Durban one. Harivilas Prabhu mentioned that I think it was in Berkeley, so in the earlier days, so they had a very similar neighbor, bothering ones. And they were completely annoyed with ISKCON. So they regularly have fight with ISKCON devotees. So one day it so happened that Harivilas Prabhu, as he was chanting, He was, going, on the road in front of the temple. He was walking, and he found the neighbor's car was leaking gasoline. The gasoline was leaking from the car. So at 5 a.m. in the morning, he knocked at their doors, and as usual, they were annoyed. Somebody is waking them up too early. But when he said that your car is leaking, be careful when you are leaving for the office. You may not notice that you may get stranded. So I just thought of letting you know. He said that's all he did. From that time onwards, the entire relationship with them and ISKCON got changed, that they started to regularly come to ISKCON and associate with them. So sometimes we think that I need to conduct myself based on how others want me to conduct. But unfortunately, that is not true. Let us learn to live our life by our principles. In English, this is called as honorable living. I live by my principles. And number two is that humility is not necessarily mean coward. Humility means I am bold. Humility means I am emphatic. Humility means I am strongly rooted to my principles and I will not deter from them. Acharyas are sitting in Vyasasan, accepting so many homages, have to be in the height of humility to receive them. I am sitting in a Vyasasan in front of the Lord, and thousands of people are offering homages to the spiritual master. The spiritual master need to have topmost level of humility to receive them. So just because I am humble doesn't mean I'm coward. So let our children be very clearly told that you can lead your principled life, be successful. Who knows? One day people will know the difference between them and us. The challenge is when we think we are the minorities, that's when we get intimidated. But we should also know we are not the minorities. I used to always give this example. In Mumbai, suppose in a class, if there is a Sardar Ladka, Pagadi maybe in a class of 60 children, one Sardar or two Sardar is there. He is minority. Suppose if all the class guys go and mess around with them, hey Pagadi wala, hey Sardar. If they try to tease him, what will happen? The entire community of Sardar will come and jack them up. The reason you should know that I am not minority by you being aware of your community of devotees. When you know in the classroom, maybe I may be one guy. In my office, I may be two guys who are chanting. But like me, there are 2 million people there. I am not a minority. They are the minorities. Because those people who are not subscribing, they don't have common ground. But we all have common ground. Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So to that extent, when we have that understanding, we will feel no problem at all. I was in Boston in March 2005, and I came from my company on deputation for some work in um, uh, Marlborough. So the day before we were going to office, we had a briefing, and my project manager and all the people, they were giving a briefing. I used to have the habit of wearing tilak wherever I go, and of course now it is because of sweat I remove. So the briefing was going on. After all the briefing, my project manager said that ये जो तो तिलक विलक पहना है ना वो सब ऑफिस में पहन के नहीं आने का. I do not know I cannot say if I had necessary devotion or not, but my ego was hurt miserably. So I next moment I said that why cannot wear my tilak? What if I was a Sardar? You would ask me to go to a salon and do a haircut or what? So that guy he's like a 4-level senior to me. So that guy got really, cornered. So he couldn't answer me. For the rest of the 3 months, I went every day with tilak. No problem. Nobody bothered. Nobody questioned. I am not trying to be fanatic here. but at least where I believe in what I am doing, if I do my duty, if I do my function, if I wear tilak and don't do my duty nicely, don't deliver the project nicely, don't perform my tasks nicely, then there's a problem. If I study well, if I conduct well, that's where the devotees find it difficult. They want to not practice, not do their job well, and they practice Krishna consciousness. People will mock at them. You Hare Krishnas are reckless. So if we do our job very nicely, we are accomplished people, we get success, we get accolades, so maybe people will follow us. So it's very easily said than done, but our youth need lots of encouragement to say by being principled is not a crime. Rather, let us learn to be principled. It's a long-term win. Am I making some sense, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Prabhuji. Very nice answer, Prabhuji. And I will convey both of them and my daughter too.
Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So anybody has any question or comment? Otherwise, we can end up the call here. Okay.
Mataji, I just wanted to add, like Prabhuji mentioned one line that there, I don't know how much it is in reference to this, but 3/4 of the world is a spiritual world. 1/4 is material world. So all these people who are out here, doing all kinds of sense gratification, they are in the cycle of birth and death. And the 3/4, like we want to go to the 3/4 area, which doesn't seem very big here. But yes, in the spiritual world where Krishna is, it's very, very big. He's made that area because he wants us to come back. So, these things are there like that. So I just wanted to mention that the thought came to me that sometimes we think we are minority, but we are not actually. Yeah, हमारा सौभाग्य है that, we, like Prabhupada said, we are in a diamond shop. Everybody cannot go into a diamond shop. They go to the artificial jewelry they will buy. So this Krishna consciousness like that. Yeah. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, Mataji.
And happy Gaura Purnima to everyone. Tomorrow is Gaura Purnima in Mumbai. I'm not sure when is that for you all.
Yeah, we also have tomorrow, Prabhuji.
So have a wonderful advanced New Year wishes to all the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. It's a new year for all of us. So may this Gaura Purnima celebration brings in lots of transformation within us, and we make some significant progress in our devotional life. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। नमः दास ठाकुर की
जय
जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की
की
जय।
जय
राम गिरधारी प्रभु की
की
जय।
जय
All with somebody devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna
Prabhuji.
Hare Bol Hare Bol
Hari Hari Bol.